What is going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to talk about shedding issues with leopard geckos. Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A+ customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our animals. Visit them today at rainbowmealworms.net to place your order. Okay, now this little nameless one right now, she's actually a special case. She's the reason that I wanted to do this video because this is the first time that I've run into this, but I've heard of other people with crested geckos, leopard geckos, and even snakes going through this exact issue that I'm going to talk about. Apparently, this leopard gecko has some kind of genetically altered trait that makes it difficult for this gecko to shed. It just doesn't have the ability to pull off its shed on its own. So about once every 3 or 4 weeks when this gecko goes through shed, I always look inside of its tub when I'm cleaning that week and notice that the shed is stuck to this gecko all over, like not just on one part of the gecko but everywhere. And unfortunately, when that happens, it's very hard to avoid their little tips of their toes from getting perfect blood flow to it. And so with the blood flow cut off when the shed gets stuck, they unfortunately lose the tips of their toes. Now that's really no issue lifelong for this gecko. The gecko will thrive, breed, survive just fine. But if you're not careful with little babies, that could turn into their arms, their tail, or their leg, and you just want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So more than anything, baby leopard geckos are the most sensitive to humidity. They absolutely need humidity to shed, and if they don't, they're going to be really stressed out in their early stages. If they can't get clean sheds, that's going to make them eat slower, most likely, grow slower, and just be more stressed of an animal in general. This gecko, on the other hand, is the first time I've ever seen a leopard gecko with some kind of genetic disposition towards having shedding issues. So it's not a humidity thing, it's not a supplemental thing. I made sure of both of those. I've extra supplemented when I noticed the issue, and I extra humidified the gecko's humid hide when I noticed the issue, and neither of those corrected the issue, and it's still just as bad every single time. And of course, I introduced the water bowl, right? The big water bowl that it can jump into when it comes time to shedding to get its skin wet, and none of that helped. So what that's telling me is that it's more of a genetic issue and not necessarily an environmental issue. So I just wanted to bring that to light so that people can be aware of that. When I did reach out to the lady that is adopting this gecko, she did say that she has other geckos that have had this issue. I had a couple other reptile hobbyists that I know reach out to me and say, hey Frank, I know crested geckos that go through this, or snakes that go through this, other leopard geckos that go through this. So apparently it is something that does exist out there in the genetic code of the animal. FYI, some weird things exist in your genetic code. I don't know if you know this, but for human beings, there's actually parts of your DNA that code for you not needing as much sleep. Isn't that crazy? So some people that don't need a lot of sleep, it could be a genetic thing. Makes you think, huh? Genetics control and alter a whole bunch of things in our geckos. And apparently, this little one inherited some kind of unfortunate disorder to where it can't shed on its own. So that's why we're gonna adopt this gecko out, find a nice home for her where somebody can absolutely give her above and beyond the care that she needs so that she will be as less stressed as possible in this life. She really is a sweet girl though. Say bye. Last night here. So this is a pretty good example of what a humidity hide should look like for leopard geckos. We like to use Eco Earth. It's a lightweight, grainy substance that you can buy from Petco, PetSmart, Amazon. It's just called Eco Earth. It comes in a dry brick, and you basically mix it with some water and it becomes very absorbent. And if the gecko ingests this, it's not that big of a deal on its digestive system compared to if the gecko digests like sand and whatnot. Now these little tubs you can buy from the dollar store. You can pretty much use any size you want. This size is a 3-cup size, and it's perfect for baby leopard geckos. You cut a little hole in the roof just like this with an X-Acto knife, and then you burn the edges so that the edges are smooth and they don't accidentally cut into the gecko's gut or anything like that. You'll have a water bowl at all times for the gecko, especially since this gecko has had shedding issues. I have a big water bowl so the gecko can get in. If it didn't have shedding issues, it really wouldn't need that big of a water bowl. You want to be careful about little babies getting stuck in there, so even though I don't think a baby would get stuck in this, just be careful. One of the biggest things with shedding that people don't recognize is nutrition. So it's important that you are supplementing the gecko's diet, whether it be crickets, dubia roaches, or mealworms, that you're supplementing it with vitamins. We like to use Vianate for pets. You can also buy that from Amazon. It looks just like this, and you'll mix 3 scoops of this for every 1 scoop of whatever pure calcium powder you're using. Now, every week or so, we change the food, the water, and we also rehydrate the Eco Earth. So I have a 2-gallon pump sprayer right here from Walmart. These work great. And all I'm gonna do is wet this Humidity Hide. And the closer you get, the deeper the water goes. So a nice run over just like that will get the substrate perfect. And you don't have to mix it around. You can if you want. Like I said, when you get close like that, the water goes in deep. So I'm really not worried about water getting down to the bottom. I know it's there from experience. Make sure you do have some ventilation in your gecko's tub so that the whole box is not a humid hide and just this one little area. And for geckos that are experiencing more shedding issues, you might want to make this hole a little bit smaller. And then bam, this gecko's ready to go. All right, now you might be saying, Frank, why are you wearing this weird vest thing and not the usual Geeky Gecko Creations shirt that you normally wear? That would be a good question. And why aren't you ending the video with the gecko on top of your head like you've been for the last few videos? Another good question. Well, guys, it's beginning to look a lot like winter over here, and so that's why I'm wearing this vest. I was just outside right now, and for Arizona, this is pretty cold. I think the night is about 40 or 45 degrees tonight, and so moving from my house, which is 70 degrees, just jumping right into the backyard at 40 degrees was definitely pretty interesting. So I put this vest on, doing a little bit of work, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna shoot the video. Also a good time to promote our 10% off discount December. So this is something that I really think that we're gonna run annually every single year. So in December, whatever we have for sale will be 10% off. What we have for sale right now is about 15 ball pythons. So you could reach out to me personally if you would like to know what's for sale, or you could check out our Morph Market page. I'll put a link to the Morph Market page in the description below so that if you are in the market for a snake, you can absolutely take a look and let us know if you're interested in anything. All right, guys, well, it's definitely that time of year where the leopard geckos are starting to ovulate and starting to go into breeding again. So we have a lot of females starting to go into breeding. I just ask that you keep an eye out on our Instagram and Facebook if you're interested in any geckos, and of course on YouTube here, because that's where we will do the bulk of our announcements for what's for sale, what we're letting go of, what we're downsizing, and all the cool geckos that we'll be releasing over the next 12 months. So I appreciate you guys being here. Stay warm this winter, and remember, have a geeky gecko great day. Peace.